Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Mind the Moments gathering, brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here this morning with Jackie Johnson, instructor with Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, everyone. Great to be with you.
So nice to have you here this morning. And I noticed this little ray of sunshine over my shoulder. So that must be you, where you have joined us. So we are happy to have you here and happy to have all the folks joining this morning as well. And this morning, if anyone's new, a special welcome to you. And we'll explain the whole process so you can feel comfortable that we'll know how everything will progress. Today, we usually, all of our sessions here, we start off with a question. So Jackie will start us off with that question. She'll share some thoughts with us, and then we'll go right into a 12-minute guided practice. And the 12-minute guided practice is a sweet spot that Dr. Amishi Jha, neuroscientist from University of Miami, has confirmed through her research. That is a sweet spot for just some really positive changes to happen during meditation and during a meditation practice that is consistent. So with that as well, I wanted to mention that on Wednesday of this week from 1 until 1:30, we'll also have Dr. Jha here to also share some more information with us and answer some questions from our community. So you can get access to that. I'll share the website. It's point32health.org/peak mind. So you can get access to that link there. And I'll share that later on in the session. So if you can go to the bottom of your Zoom screen and open up your chat. And when you see with the chat, you'll see the drop-down menu at the bottom that says hosts and panelists. Click that to be everyone, and then everyone can see your comments and what you've shared in the answer to the question. So Jackie, you have a question for us. What is that question?
Thank you, Suzanne. So just a snippet of maybe setting the ground for the question. In the busyness of our daily lives, it's so easy to get really sort of hyper-focused, laser-focused in a way that narrows our attention as we're solving whatever problem feels present at a particular moment. And we miss a lot. We miss a lot when the attention is narrowed in that way. So I want to just invite everybody right now to really widen the aperture of awareness and just see, what do you notice right now? What do you notice right now? And Suzanne, I notice you're closing your eyes, so you can do this with eyes closed or open, because it could be a sight, a sound, a smell, a sensation, an absence of sensation. But what do you notice that brings a sense of uplift, of lightness, a smile? So this isn't about skipping over anything. It's not about wearing rose-colored glasses. It's more about the what else of the moment when we get really focused, and just seeing if you open that aperture a little bit, what else do you notice?
I added that question to our chat here. Someone says my cherry tree out the window is blossoming. I love that. Space and light. Yeah, I particularly noticed the sun because it was supposed to be cloudy and rainy this morning, and I noticed a sense of quiet too. This tends to be a busy time on my street, everybody going to school, but it seems somewhat quiet.
Yeah. And I wonder, as I see the comments coming up, sound of dog, the cherry tree, right before sitting down with you all, there was a ray of sunshine, like you talked about, Suzanne. And I just saw the raindrops on the leaves gleaming, and it just looked really magical for a moment. So lilacs are blooming, birds. So I just wonder, what's the impact of these things that it's easy not to notice. So if anybody has thoughts they want to share on that. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about when we're having a toothache, we know, and what's the quote? When we're having a toothache, we know that not having a toothache is a wonderful thing. Yet when we don't have a toothache, we're still not happy. So some of it is about sometimes noticing, there's no toothache. So, when I mentioned that, sometimes it's about the absence of something too. Like if you're used to a particular kind of discomfort in the body, noticing in a moment that, it's okay right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes going to a neutral place in your body, you realize if you do have some chronic pain, you realize, wow, my elbow feels fine. It's hard to find those places, but sometimes you can be like, oh, well,
Yeah.
there is a way to look at things in a different lens, like you mentioned.
Yeah, that's true. And what else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like what Janice has mentioned too, for her favorite color in various places, like something like that. If you're just looking at your walls, you're like, okay, this is everyday thing, but yeah, I've surrounded myself with my favorite color. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I really like this idea, because Jackie and I were talking about expectations and how we have expectations for certain things in life, in our lives, to go a certain way, and I feel like if you do widen that lens to think, I was expecting this, but then I got something else maybe I didn't want, but it can open up something else in your mindset. So
It's also helpful for me in slowing me down, that expression about stop and smell the roses. I noticed this idea, this question came to mind recently when I was doing my practice in the morning and it was a really busy day ahead. And I noticed I was using Insight Timer, and I noticed at the end of the practice when the bells rang, I was leaping into action so quickly that I forgot to even turn off the timer. And I thought, whoa, and this is right after practice. And I'm just launching into doing mode so quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting when we pick up on those things. We can decide to do things differently next time.
Yeah.
Sound the pine tree needles make when it's windy.
Yeah, that's great.
Dan says, I wear a lot of blue and white together. Color pairing is apparently something I'm drawn to. I don't consciously buy clothes that are shades of blue with white accents. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. So we don't notice what we surround ourselves with because it's calming, it's soothing, it's familiar.
Right. Right. So I'd love to move us into the practice for about 12 minutes or so, and then maybe leave some time for other thoughts at the end. If that
Sounds good.
So I want to invite everybody to feel free to let my voice drop into the background if that's best for you at any point. And we'll have lots of stretches of silence in this practice. And as Suzanne suggested, practice for about 12 minutes. So find a posture that feels right for you in this moment. And that could be seated, could be standing, whatever really feels right, but a posture that has a sense of wakefulness and especially invites a sense of relaxation and ease. So just as you settling in, see if you need any movement. If you've been sitting for a while already this morning, just to really find that supportive way to be in the body right now. And I sometimes find it really helpful to check in with the spine too, almost like calling to mind a tree, the way in which the trunk is able to support all the branches above, and to just see, check in with positioning, maybe tucking the chin a little bit to feel the head and the neck really supported by the spine. And if it feels right, allowing the eyes to close or casting the gaze gently downward to minimize distraction. And inviting in a couple of deeper than normal breaths, feeling the brightening on the in-breath and a sense of settling on the exhalation. Inviting softening, really feeling the weight of the body supported by the chair, by the floor, by the earth, and feeling that support in the seat if you're sitting, the feet, feeling the weight of the hands, just really sinking in. And to the degree possible, just really trusting that support that's here, that support of the earth. And at your own pace, sweeping through the body, inviting softening. And knowing that this is something that you can come back to, this sweeping and softening throughout the practice and beyond the practice. And as you feel the grounding support of the earth and this sense of softening into it, noticing that the body's breathing. And if it's helpful, you can gently use that groundedness as an anchor for your attention, that sense of the weight of the body, or the feeling of the feet or the hands as a support. Or you can shift to a sense of the body breathing and notice that where it's most prominent for you, or an overall sense of the body being breathed. Whichever is most supportive to bring a sense of softening, a sense of collectedness with ease. And each time the attention wanders, as it will, just noticing with care and compassion where it went and coming back. Noticing what might support even more softening. Sometimes it's an awareness of the breath and the heart space. And now inviting the awareness to expand a bit beyond the bounds of the body, to radiate out to the space around the body, just inviting more spaciousness for whatever's here, for whatever arises. Checking in again and noticing how it is to soften into more space. And in the last minutes of practice, knowing that you can keep checking in, feeling the support of the earth, this process of settling, feeling the body breathing, and opening that aperture of awareness, feeling that sense of some extra space, something you can come back to in the practice and in your day. And if the eyes have been closed, just taking your time and really slowly letting some light in. And before you come back to the screen, taking some time to widen the aperture and to widen the awareness of the visual field. Seeing what's here. And as we come back, may we all be safe and well, be peaceful, live with ease, with joy, with kindness, and may the merit of our practice be a benefit to all. Thank you. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you, Jackie. I really enjoyed when I had my eyes closed, opening up the aperture then.
Yeah, I love that I noticed your eyes closing. Yeah. What did
And
you see differently, Suzanne?
yeah, I noticed the light that sometimes you can close your eyes and still notice that extra light that comes around your eyes. I just noticed that extra light,
Mm,
and it just was a different way to have your eyes closed. Many times we just have our eyes closed and we're not aware of there is something that your eyes can see, a little bit of light. So
yeah, I love that. And we were chatting briefly before going live about expectations, as you said. And I've just been finding this sort of simple 3 steps has really served me well through the day of just kind of grounding, noticing breathing, and widening the area of awareness. And I'm just curious if anybody else has, I know we're a little bit limited in asking people to type in the chat, but if anybody else has practices that you've been finding serve you well throughout the day that are helpful, that you want to just post in the chat, be great to see those.
I recently went on retreat and I can't quite find it exactly what they were saying, but it was actually going to continue to look for it because it was something that was so helpful. Oh, pause, relax, and open.
Mm. Yeah. And so a lot of similarity in that too. I see Paula says, I take deep, deep breaths to ground me during the day when things get tense. Yeah, that's great.
Mm, yeah. The thought of opening has so many different, so many different ways that can help us. Tammy, I found that bringing mindfulness to nature photography helps me to appreciate the detail more.
Yeah, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
It's like having a lens that sees more than the eyes are seeing, maybe. That's great, Tammy.
Mm. Jennifer, I like to visualize a light entering my body at the crown of my head and having it sweep through my body sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also thinking as we chatted about expectations, the idea of affective labeling is what it's called in neuroscience. And just when we notice what has us contracting, maybe, or when we notice what's here and label it like, expectations, it takes it down a notch. And for me, that's also another way by labeling, getting caught in expectations, that sort of relaxes things and can open them more.
Mm. Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, it's almost like when you label it, you can look at it from the outside yourself and see, okay, this isn't part of me. This is just something that's entering
Yeah.
my thought stream. Yeah, it seems more manageable that way. That's good.
Yeah, it just gives us a little bit of distance, detachment.
Mm,
It's something that's being known in the moment.
yeah. Yeah, and when you talk about opening this lens, I think about, in day-to-day life, let's say we're in traffic and someone is driving erratically, or, we might judge without opening that lens and saying, okay, there's an erratic driver, and maybe it's because they're driving to the hospital to see a family, like you just don't know what. So if you can, it lets you drop judgment and open more acceptance of what might be happening for people, which makes it easier for us to live too. If we're always like, oh, how come they're on their phone or something like that, and you realize they're not, they're just in the midst of their life.
Yeah. And sometimes just having that simple question that works for you. Like one version I use is, and what else? Um, Finding that simple question that serves as a reminder. I
Mm-hmm.
feel a body part like my feet touching the ground, a mini body scan. That's beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it helps you kind of get out of the situation and back into the bigger thing, the bigger part of the world, which is the earth supporting us. Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Jackie. We've come to the end of our time. This has just been beautifully edifying and also just relaxing. So we thank you for being here and for helping us look at things a little differently through this different lens. So
Thank you.
grateful for you to be here. And we will be back here tomorrow. And tomorrow is our time when we are when Tara and John will be here with Dr. Amishi Jha. So that's tomorrow, Wednesday, between 1 and 1:30. And I said I would share the link to all things May Mental Health Awareness Month, 32health.org/keep-mind. So the link will be there on that link that I just shared. So hope to see you all. And tomorrow we'll also do our Mind the Moment web, not the webinar, but the Zoom meeting format. So we'll see you at 8:30 as well. So thanks again, Jackie. Hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.